And he wasn't just following me, he was following me extremely closely. Like, his face was about this far away from me. And there was an older lady there who got an eye full of me, and she did not like what she saw. I have never seen someone look so disgusted by my appearance. I want to say there were about 2 or 3 alternative people on the entire ship of about 4,000, one of which was me. Oh, hello! Welcome back to my Chanel and to my first ever cruise experience. I've never been on a cruise before, but I've always wanted to go, so you can imagine how excited I was. My cruise was for 7 days and I got to go to the Caribbean, which has been a dream of mine since I was in high school. I sailed on the Norwegian Escape, which is the same ship we'll be taking for the Goth cruise next year, and we had almost the exact same itinerary too, which was really cool. So this cruise was pretty much a preview for me to see what things will be like on the Goth cruise itself. So cruises leave out of different ports in the US, and ours left out of Miami. So I flew down the day before, which was really nice and relaxing, stayed in a hotel, and then went on the ship the very next morning. It was like a floating hotel. I'd never been so close to such a massive ship in my life. I did my best to pack light for this trip, so I only brought on a backpack and 1 carry-on bag. I was very proud of myself. But as we boarded the ship, you can leave your carry-on bag with the porter. They'll bring it on the ship for you, so I only had my backpack with me. So we were one of the first to board, and once we got on the ship, we got to walk around and explore because your rooms typically aren't ready until later in the afternoon. And that's why we left our carry-on bags with the porter, because we really didn't want to lug them around the entire ship until our room was ready. But we got to explore the whole ship, see all the sights, and there is so much to see. There are 20 levels to the NCL Escape, which is insane. I was actually shocked by how much there is on the ship. There's a ropes course, there's a bowling alley, there's a spa, there's a gym, and there are 3 water slides. And just walking around and seeing everything that there is to see took up enough time in between us boarding and getting to the room. You can also eat while you're waiting for your room. The buffet is open. There's also several restaurants that are open. So aside from exploring, we also went to lunch while waiting for our room, and we went to lunch at Savor, I think. Either Savor or Taste, I can't remember which one, but those are the ship's main dining rooms. I had the wedge salad, and it was one of the best salads I've ever had. It was an enormous piece of lettuce with blue cheese, bacon, chopped eggs, and blue cheese dressing. I like my blue cheese, so I was in heaven. But I was just really impressed right from the beginning, the quality of the food there. I also have a gluten allergy, and they were so helpful when it came to that. For my first meal there, I wanted to have fish, but the only fish this restaurant offered was breaded. So my waiter was so sweet. Without me asking him, he went back to the chef, told him about my allergy, and then they made the fish for me specially without any breadcrumbs. I was really impressed and really touched. They also placed the napkins in your lap, which I am not used to. It's very fancy. So I was just really impressed with their level of service. And you can request to have a black napkin instead of a white, which I did, for goth reasons. And once our room was ready, we went to the cabin and changed and got ready for the sail away party, which is the celebration for when we leave Miami. And because we had the drinks package, all drinks under $14 were free. So I got myself a pina colada. I also whipped up my parasol to avoid getting sunburnt. And they have these really cool misting rooms on deck too, where you can just walk through and you'll get hit with blasts of cool mist. So I did have fun dancing in there with my parasol. And I'm really glad I brought magnetic hooks because that gave me so much more space. I hung all of my bathing suits and cover-ups and even some jackets on my wall. And unfortunately, I did have some drama the first night on the ship. So I was walking back into the adults-only part of the ship called Spice H2O. They have bars back there, an amazing waterfall feature, and that's usually where they have raves, dance parties. They also show movies there. So as I was walking in, I was approached by a guy, and he was with a group of, I want to say, 6 or 7 other young women, all around my age, if not younger. And he started to try to flirt with me and talk to me, but I just ignored him and kept walking because I'm in a relationship. Walked to the bar, got my drink, and I'd hoped that that would be the end of it, but it was not. About 10-15 minutes later, I start to leave the area, and this guy pops up again, starts trying to talk to me, and he was saying, "Damn, girl, you're hella fine." So I'm like, all right, I get it. You're interested. I don't want anything to do with you, sir. So again, I just ignore him, and I just walk out. And much to my dismay, he starts to follow me out. And he wasn't just following me, he was following me extremely closely. Like, his face was about this far away from me. And there's a really long hallway leading out of this place, so I was terrified he was going to try to grab me and bring me back with him somewhere. I didn't know what he was going to do. Thankfully, at the end of the hallway, he gave up and he turned around and left. but the women that he was with were not happy with me. And later on that night, I discovered that they were all rooming in the same hallway that I was because I saw them there. As I was going into my cabin, the girls were like, "Hey, there's that girl." So got in there real quick to avoid them, but that was not a fun moment. Starting off the first night strong. And I did end up reporting that to security just in case he did that to anybody else. But thankfully, I did not see or hear from them again for the rest of the cruise. The next day we were at sea, so it gave me plenty of time to explore the ship and just relax. I got up super early to catch the sunrise, but sadly it was overcast, so I didn't see anything. But being up that early, which was around 6 a.m., was really nice because there was nobody else on the deck. I got to sit, just watch the ocean, do a little bit of journaling. So that was day 2. Day 3, we docked at Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. And I booked a shore excursion at Ocean World, which I have been so excited for ever since I first learned about the Goth cruise, because there is a bird attraction there where you can get to feed birds and they sit on you. It was the best thing. Ocean World also had a bunch of different shows that I got to see, including dolphins, sea lions, sharks. But I have to say, the birds were my absolute favorite. I've never been so happy. They were all over me, ready for that bird seed. They were sitting on my hands. They were sitting all over my hat. They also had a bird show where the birds did tricks. It was so much fun. I also got to snorkel for the first time there as well, because in Ocean World, there's like a contained container. There's a contained little reef area where they have a bunch of tropical fish, and you can just go in and swim with them, which I did several times. You can bring your own snorkeling gear, or you can have it there. It's included free with admission to the park. So I put on a mask and I dove in, and it was so cool to swim with all of these fish. And because I went there at kind of a quiet time during the day, there was no one else there with me in the pool, so they let me do it 3 times. It was awesome. They also provided lunch from a buffet there, which was really good. The food was very tasty. There was also karaoke on the ship, which was so much fun. I'm sad I only got to go once though, just because there was so much to do. For those of you who don't know, I love karaoke. I always go whenever I get the chance. The crew all seemed really genuinely happy and friendly. They were ready to help you, whatever you needed. And the other cruise goers, for the most part, were also very nice. I was walking past one of the adult pools on deck, and a lot of people were laying out in their sun chairs, and there was an older lady there who got an eye full of me, and she did not like what she saw. I have never seen someone look so disgusted by my appearance. And I'll show you the outfit I was wearing too. I didn't think it was anything crazy. It was like a red crop top, ripped jeans. I had my parasol with me, and I was wearing no makeup because I was in relaxed vacation mode. No joke, her face looked like this. I just laughed because it was so ridiculous. But aside from that, I didn't have any negative interactions with anyone on the ship. But while in the Dominican Republic, I also had my first ever coconut drink, which was very tasty. They open up raw coconuts and mix the alcohol inside for you, and you get to carry it around. I think one of my favorite things about the ship was the waterfall feature on the back. It's just so refreshing, especially on a hot day, just to walk in there and enjoy the waterfalls. And it's located right next to a bar, so you can drink and stay cool. I cannot rave enough about the food on the ship. It was so good. I did eat at the buffet usually for breakfast or just for the random odd snack during the day, but the restaurants are where it's at. I think I tried just about every restaurant on the ship. I had escargot in the French restaurant there, and I had the most amazing surf and turf at Cagney's Steakhouse. I think that was my favorite dinner, because I also had a caramel cheesecake. Oh, so good. I also got to catch a couple of sunsets off the ship, which were so gorgeous. There really is no better view of a sunset than on a ship. Now, since I'd never been on a cruise before, I thought there would be so much downtime where I would be bored, there would be nothing for me to do or see. So I downloaded about 20 books to my phone. I didn't read a single one. There was so much to do. They had game shows, they had dance lessons, there was karaoke, there were the Broadway level shows like Choir of Man, which is so good. Highly recommend that show. One of my favorite shows on the ship was called Howl at the Moon. It's a dueling piano show where the audience writes down song requests, they give them to the pianist, and then they play them. And I requested Crazy Train, and I was very shocked that they actually played it for me. It was so cool. They broke out the electric guitar and everything. There's also dance nights on the back of the ship. They had a Latin night, they had a rave, which was super fun. It was my first ever rave experience and I really enjoyed it. Then for our next stop, it was St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands, and I had been really looking forward to this stop because we had booked a shore excursion there to go snorkeling to see a sunken ship. How cool is that? Unfortunately, I don't have a waterproof camera, so I didn't get any footage of the ship itself, but it was so cool. We were taken out to the site of the sunken ship on a catamaran, and this was a guided excursion, so we had a guide that was telling us all about the history of the ship and the islands, and then you had some time to explore on your own if you wanted, which I absolutely did, and I was the last one to come up out of the water. I actually got a little emotional for this particular shore excursion because I've loved Pirates of the Caribbean since I was in high school, and it's been a dream of mine for so long to go to the Caribbean and swim and just be there. So I did cry on the way out to see the ship, but it was just such an amazing experience. I would definitely do it again. And then on the way back to the ship, they gave us all free drinks. And then for our next destination, we got to go to Puerto Rico. And for those of you who don't know, I am Puerto Rican. So it was very cool for me to go to Old San Juan. We got a fantastic tour right off the dock. We got driven around to see several of the old forts, one of which appeared in Pirates of the Caribbean. I got to eat mofongo for the first time, which was absolutely delicious, and I love plantains, so I got some fried plantains. We also got to go to the Cathedral of San Juan, which was gorgeous, but my main reason for going was to see the mummy there. You can actually see the remains of St. Pius there. There's a wax figure, but his actual human remains are there. The eyes are real, the teeth. So it was really creepy, but really cool. Right up my alley. We also got to see the tomb of Ponce de Leon. And I like that they give you enough time to go out and explore the locations that you dock at. You don't have to go out, be there for a few hours, then rush back to the ship. Oh, one other thing. The restaurants do have dress codes, and I got dress coded. So I was wearing this forest ink black and white striped top, and I get why they made me change because it looks more like a bathing suit. So when they saw me wearing this, they did not let me in. They made me go back to my cabin and put on a cover up. But once I put on a cover up, they let me right back in. Another thing I really enjoyed on the ship was called Walk the Plank, where they have a ropes course on the top deck, which is so cool. There's a zip line in there, and you get all harnessed up, obviously, so you're not going to fall off the ship, but there's a narrow plank that goes off the side of the ship really high above the water. So I went out there, and it was awesome. It was a little scary, not gonna lie, because the plank is about this wide, but it was a beautiful view of the ocean, and just standing out there made me feel like a true adventurer. Then we had another day at sea, and our last stop before returning home was Great Stirrup Cay. This is Norwegian's private island, and it was so gorgeous. I've never seen such white sand. The beach was stunning. Palm trees everywhere. There was a Bacardi bar, which I took full advantage of. I mean, come on. Bacardi has a bat for its logo. How could I not? But I had the most refreshing mojito there I've ever had, and it was so nice to sip it while on the beach, looking out at the ship. And I will say, for the most part of this cruise, I did avoid getting sunburned. There was 1 or 2 days where I got a little bit red on my chest and my face, but I slathered myself in 100 SPF. And I also wore an SPF hoodie, which I got off Amazon, which worked pretty well. But I did end up taking off my hoodie for a beach photo shoot where I showed off one of my favorite bikinis. But as soon as the pictures were done, I put my hoodie right back on. I did not want to tan. There's also a lot you can do on the island. You can just relax on the beach, or you can rent a wave runner, you can go snorkeling, you can explore the island. I chose to spend my time snorkeling because I was just obsessed. I love swimming, I love the ocean, and I love seeing wildlife, so I just ended up snorkeling around the beach for like an hour and a half. And while I was out there snorkeling, I saw a bunch of coral, I saw some amazing tropical fish, but my favorite thing was getting to swim with a stingray. I was just swimming along, you know, just minding my own business, and all of a sudden I saw a little stingray below me. It was so cute. It was no bigger than like a foot or two wide. I did not expect to see anything out there other than fish, so I was very excited. And I kept my distance. I didn't bother him at all because that kind of stingray does have a barb in its tail, and he was just chilling. He was moseying along, eating off the bottom of the ocean floor. One thing I will say is I bought my own snorkeling gear and brought it with me, and I highly recommend that if you like snorkeling, because otherwise you will have to rent them, and that gets expensive. I think it was around $50 to rent snorkeling equipment on the island. They also make you wear a life vest if you swim out past a certain distance from the shore, so I really appreciated their safety measures. I was very sad when the cruise ended. I did not want to leave, and I am absolutely obsessed with the water in the Caribbean. I've never seen such clear blue water. I even made it my lock screen on my phone. And I never got seasick because you really couldn't feel the motion of the boat. Every once in a while it felt like a gentle rocking back and forth like that, but that was it. I did bring Dramamine just in case, but I never used it. I will say I did gain about 5 pounds from the cruise just because of the food, but it was totally worth it. I can honestly say that there was nothing about the cruise that I disliked. I loved everything. I mean, I got to go to the gym and work out while looking at the ocean. And for someone like me who loves the ocean and loves being on and around the water, it was paradise. So if you like drinking, if you like partying, if you like relaxing, if you like having a variety of live shows and music, and if you like being on the ocean and traveling, cruising is just the best. I cannot wait for the Gothic cruise in March. I am so stoked. But if you're interested in the Gothic cruise and you would like to go, I will leave my video up in the cards, which will tell you everything you need to know. But as a Goth person, I was expecting a much different experience. Everyone, for the most part, was just so nice. There are elevators in the ship to go up and down from the various levels, and everyone would always joke around and introduce themselves and make chit chat. And I just felt very welcomed overall, which was really nice. I want to say there were about 2 or 3 alternative people on the entire ship of about 4,000, one of which was me. But yeah, that was my experience as a Goth person on a cruise for the very first time. Absolutely amazing. Cannot wait to do it again. Let me know down below if you've ever gone on a cruise or if you're planning to in the near future. And I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye. I sailed on the Norwegian Escape of Norwegian Cruise Lines. I can't say it. It was called the Norwegian Escape from Norwegian Cruise Lines. So close. Should the sloth.